Hi, I'm Stephen Blazer. I'm an economics and public policy senior at Duke, and I'm the founder and executive director of North Carolina Common Sense. Today we're going to talk about the big news surrounding what we've done in the past year and our current and future plans. North Carolina Common Sense is a recently formed not-for-profit in the state of North Carolina, completely created and staffed by students, primarily through Duke, but also with students at UNC and EMON. North Carolina Common Sense is about promoting data-driven discourse. It's about getting citizens, government officials, and public policy think tanks engaged in looking at the most important issues that are plaguing North Carolina today. This means that we have students that are working on the visualization team. They're putting together Excel files with the data from many different sources, and they're creating it into engaging and visually appealing visualizations. While on the research side, it's students that are putting together policy memos based on the visualizations and these issues.
So I'm a little confused here as to what this key over here represents. I see there like might be the dot sizes and the numbers, but I don't really think that's really clear. Can you explain what that key means right there?
So that's a great question, Ian. So what you see over here is a key that then corresponds with the size of the circles that are drawn out in this visualization. So in some areas you see there's a large blue circle here that is going to be corresponding based on the size of the circle, the number over here. So we're going to see it's about 30,000 population size when you transfer it over to the visualization.
Do you think it'd be helpful maybe if you labeled the counties on the state chart as well, or does that kind of clutter the idea going forward?
So the point of our visualizations is to be clear and concise for anyone reading them. So what we want up here is to be a clear visualization, while down below we break down the data based on the county lines and a little bit more specifics.
And what other variables do you use to explain the voter ID discrepancies?
So we tried to narrow down to a bunch of different variables that make sense with this. So this one you see number of voters without an ID in North Carolina. Other things that we did is the difference between urban and rural populations. How far they have to travel to get to a DMV, or how far they have to go to the polling station. It's going to vary a lot when you're someone from rural North Carolina, or when you only have to travel a couple blocks in downtown Raleigh.
So where are you getting all this data?
So our data, we work with a variety of different partner organizations on both the left and right side, and this helps us to get more nonpartisan data, so we can come from both sides and really, extrapolate some of the things that they have, and then also garner from both sides so that we get that really clear nonpartisan approach.
One of the big reasons that North Carolina Common Sense was founded was because North Carolina went from a B+ score in government transparency to a D this year.
Here are your grades for the Government Budget Transparency Report. Oregon, you got a B+. Well done. Texas, you got an A. Nice work. In North Carolina, you went from a B+ to a D. And you don't want a D, because Ds are bad.
Next, we're going to bring in a student that's actually involved with the North Carolina Common Sense organization to hear about some of her experiences working with the group and really how it connects with the public as well. She had mentioned that you're creating a website that you just began in December. What are some of the other current projects that you guys are working on right now?
Well, one of the projects I just completed is about the NCCS, which was an organization created by the North Carolina state government to help try and close the digital divide in North Carolina and bring just a better proportion of North Carolinians to high-speed internet access and better internet standards. And I was actually looking at the data surrounding their budget and then the actual progress they made to close this digital divide, and in a sense, how much money was spent every year by North Carolina to bring North Carolinians to a better standard of internet access.
Is this information easy to access, or does the team have to actually do special work to go in and get it? Like, for example, would you sometimes have to file a Freedom of Information Act? Are you looking through a bunch of different websites, or is this all in one centralized location?
It's often looking through a bunch of different websites. It can be quite time consuming actually, because you think this information would be out there, spend their money and where this is all going to, but it's really not. For the ENC, I had to contact their office, and although they tried to help me, a lot of this information was lost because the agency was later disbanded, and it can be quite a process.
Wow, okay. And so there's many other big issues going on in North Carolina right now. You have the Medicaid battle that's coming up. Another issue that recently occurred was the voter ID law that was just put into place.
We're actually doing a project on the voter ID law right now. We're trying to compile variables that both sides are using and putting them on the same visualization so we can really create a bipartisan image of what's going on and what these major issues are.
Wow, that's great. How do you disseminate information about the projects that you've been working on?
Well, currently all of our visualizations that we've been creating up to date are still privately stored, but in December we started working on our website and we're hoping to get that up and running as soon as possible, and that's going to have all the visualizations and the corresponding policy memos right there for the ability to use and open to the public.
Great. And do you also give that information to government officials, or is that only for the benefit of public members?
Yes, in fact. The outside organizations which we've been working with have expressed a lot of interest in putting our visualizations on their websites and, just embedding what we're doing into their blogs and newsletters.
Great. North Carolina Common Sense is also embarking on 3 new long-term projects. The first of which is we're working with a high-level government organization to create a dashboard whereby we would be pulling in real-time data from a bunch of different agencies and other sources of North Carolina agencies, of North Carolina programs, and of North Carolina county level data as well. And what we're going to be doing with this organization is providing it to government officials and to North Carolina citizens to ensure that we don't have to pull the data new every single year, but that it can be updated real time to make sure that programs are as efficient and timely as possible. The second thing is that we're working on many other visualizations, such as the healthcare battle that's upcoming. We're working on a poverty visualization. In addition, we're working on a school transportation visualization, whereby we're trying to find the most efficient way to create school transportation from county to county in order to lower school budget costs in this time of uncertainty. The last project that's being conducted is we're going to start next semester doing weekly daily news updates. And what this means is that the daily news that we publish every day on our blog, we're going to once a week post a 4 to 5 minute video whereby 2 members of our team will be talking about those issues. And this is also going to be a really great news source for North Carolinians all over the state to be able to see what are the most important topics in their state that week. And we think that this will be a really added benefit of being able to not just look at the visualizations, but also understand the qualitative reasons behind them